This conference will now be recorded.
So what we did in the last session, we have created a Azure account first by using a mail ID. So we have created a Azure account. In this Azure account, Microsoft Azure account by using a mail ID, that is Microsoft mail ID. From that Azure account, by using that mail ID, you created a subscription. Under one Azure account, you can have many number of subscriptions. Under one Azure account, you can have many number of subscriptions. What do you mean by subscription? A subscription means it's a billing criteria. It's a billing criteria. You are trying to purchase the services in the Microsoft Azure portal, through which subscription you are going to purchase, that will be recorded under that particular subscription. So they are charging the amount for purchasing the services to implement the project from that particular subscription, because while you are creating the subscription, you are giving a credit card information. So under one account, there are many number of subscriptions can be created. Under one subscription, there are many number of subscriptions can be created. Yesterday we created a free subscription. We created a free subscription over here, and this is other credit card. You can give different names for the free subscription. This is a paid subscription. This is also a paid subscription with the different names. This one also. So why we need these many subscriptions? Why we need these many subscriptions? In my organization, when we are going to, we have different kind of departments available in the organization. In one organization, you can have multiple departments: finance department, HR department, sales department, marketing department, SAP environment department. So there are multiple departments. The projects what you are going to implement, under one particular department, all those projects we are going to make, under one particular department. I'm going to create 6 projects. All the 6 projects related to finance department. So the charges of these 6 projects, whatever the services we are going to purchase, coming under this subscription only. You understand what we are trying to do? All projects related to finance department will be charged from this particular subscription. So it is easy to auditing also. How much amount we are spending for the projects related to the finance department, HR department, whatever. I'm going to implement 3 more projects under the HR department. Under the HR department. So how to recognize, let's say for example, in one of the project, I'm going to implement one project inside the this sales department. Under the sales department, I have just recently only one project I'm going to do. And inside this project to implement, you need so many services. Let's say for example, I need Azure SQL database, Azure SQL DB, and Azure SQL data warehousing, data factory. These many services I'm expecting. So under one subscription, you can create many number of projects. Under one project, you can have many number of services. The terminology, the project, we don't have anything. In Azure point of view, we are calling each project as a resource manager group. If you want to start any project, then you need to create one resource group manager. What do you mean by resource group manager? A resource group manager contains the services what you are trying to create under a particular project. It will group all the resources. It will group all the services into one umbrella. That is called resource group manager. So the resource group manager what you created, the resource group manager what you created will grouping the all resources. What do you mean by resource? For example, Azure SQL database. It's a service actually. If you are creating that service for your projects, then it is a resource. The same Azure SQL database you need in the same project one more time. Then you are creating one more resource, but service is same. Azure SQL DB is a service, and you are using that, you are creating that service under your project. Then we are calling that as a resource. A grouping of all these resources for one of the project is called resource group manager. So in under one subscription, we can create many number of resource group managers. We can create under one resource as many number of resource group managers. Under one resource group, we can have a many number of resources. Under one resource group manager, we have so many resources. So when you are going to create any resource, you need to specify this resource you are going to create under which resource group manager and under which subscription. Do you want to create this resource under this first subscription or second subscription or third subscription or fourth subscription? Then the charges will be coming under that particular subscription. Then in the final auditing, they can able to understand Under this subscription, these are the expenditure and spending we did, and also you can do the auditing on the resource group manager level as well. Under resource group manager level also, you can able to do the auditing. What are all the resources you grouped under a resource group manager? Then you are able to understand over here. Clear? So earlier, there is no concept of resource group manager. Earlier we have only individual resources. There is no grouping of your resources. There is no grouping of resources. Whatever the resource you are creating service, it's an individual. It's not grouping under anything. That is called a classic deployment model. Classic deployment model versus resource group manager. Classic deployment model versus resource group manager. Under classic deployment model, each resource will be created individual. No grouping of resources. Here, grouping all resources under one resource group manager. And what is the advantage of this resource group manager concept? When you are deploying, deployment needs to done individual, because you don't know a resource created under which project. But here, deployment process easy, because all the resources will be grouped under this resource group manager. Any security policies to apply individually you need to do. The security policies can apply on the group level, apply on resource group manager level. Okay, so that is the reason now everything is under the resource group manager model. There is no classic deployment model. Now it is a resource group manager. So when you are going to create any project under a particular subscription, first create a resource group manager. Under the resource group manager, what are all the resources you need? So on each account level, there is an account administrator. There is a account administrator. And this account administrator is the owner of this account, and you can able to create any subscriptions. And also there is one co-admin also is there. Okay, there is a account administrator, and on each subscription there is a service administrator is available. There is a service administrator also available. And there are many number of co-administrators. Okay, so co-administrators having similar kind of permissions like service administrators, but not that much level. Service administrator is able to create the services. He has the access for the services. Generally, in our case, account administrator, service administrator, everything will be the same because we have only one account. So now what I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to log into this Microsoft Azure account, and I'm going to create one of the resource storage account. Or I want to create a virtual machine. Virtual machine. Virtual machine is a service available inside your Azure. You can create a virtual desktop environment. Whichever the operating system you want, you can create it. How to create a virtual machine is a service under a particular resource group manager. So simply log into Azure portal, azure.com. So first you need to sign into this Azure account. Click on sign in. Or you can directly sign into portal also. Click on portal. So whatever the email address, password you have to log in. Yesterday we created a free account, right? You can use that one. So once you are logged into the Azure account, you can go to this blade. If you created already any resource groups, you can see over here. Click on resource groups. I created one resource group, nothing but resource group manager. What we discussed till now, a resource group manager first you need to create, right? That already I created, but I want to delete that one. Click on this E classes 123 resource group manager. Delete this resource group manager. See, under this resource group manager, I created some resources. This is a data lake and data lake analytics. Two services I created. I want to delete this resource group manager. ELASSES. To delete, you need to confirm the name. ELASSES123. Click delete. So, a resource group manager I am deleting. If you are deleting the resource group manager, everything will be deleted under that, whatever the resources you created when you are deleting the resource group manager. So first what I will do, I will go back to home. I will try to create one resource group manager. How to create a resource groups? Simply go to resource groups, click on that and click add. What is the subscription you are going to create? Free trial subscription. And what is the resource group? I am going to make it as a e-classes. And whatever the resource group manager you are creating, this is going to save all the metadata information, means what are the resources available under this resource group. It has some information, right? So that information it is going to store in the backend somewhere in the data center. In which data center you are going to store that, in that data center you need to select over here. So the mandatory thing is this resource group manager you are going to create under which subscription you need to specify. So I have only one subscription, that is a free trial subscription. Under the resource details region is ESTS. Review and create it. Alright. So I created a resource group manager. Under this resource group manager, I don't have anything as of now. I don't have anything over here, any resources created. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one of the resource virtual machine. How to create a virtual machine? So virtual machine is one of the service available. You want to search for that service in your Azure. If you select virtual machine, see the service available virtual machine. Click on the virtual machine. So just add a virtual machine. Click add virtual machine. So what is the subscription? It's a free trial subscription. And what is the resource group? We just created one resource group, if you remember, e-classes. So when I'm going to create any resource, as of now I'm creating virtual machine. So to create the virtual machine, I'm mapping that to a particular resource group manager and a particular subscription. That two things is mandatory when you are creating any service. When you are creating any service, those two things are very, very important. Without providing those two information, you cannot do anything. Okay, if you haven't created any resource group, You can create the resource group manager here also. Simple step. E classes grp. So it will create one resource group over here. It's not mandatory to go over here and create a resource group. You can create over here as well. Already I created and I'm going to use that one. What is the virtual machine you want to give? E classes 123 VM. This is my virtual machine name. In which region you want to create this virtual machine? The data center and availability options and all those things will come back, but I just want to demonstrate today how to create. And there are different kind of operating system images available. Do you want Windows Server 2019 data center or UBNet? So whichever you want, or Linux, Oracle Linux. These are the virtual desktop providers. So I'm going to select Windows 2019 data center. Okay. So here the capacity of your Azure data, virtual machine you need to specify over here. The size, how much GB, how many core processors, how much RAM, how much input output processing speed, and temporary storage. All those things you need to select over here. So I just want to leave it to default, whatever is selected. For your virtual machine, you need a name to log in. You need a and password also. So you can set up some password. Okay. So I'm going to connect to this virtual machine through remote desktop connection. There are multiple ways, but as of now I'm selecting this one. Finally review and create the virtual machine. Please keep that username, password, whatever you have entered, that is required to connect to the remote desktop connection. Sorry, virtual machine. So the charges per hour is 12 rupees. It is going to charge for this virtual machine. It's creating the virtual machine related all the things over here. Virtual network, IP address. So it's deploying everything in a data center. It's done completed. Okay. It has created a resource. So do you want to go to the resource virtual machine what you created? Click on go to resource. If you want to restart your virtual machine, you can restart. If you want to stop the virtual machine, you can stop. If you want to delete this virtual machine, you can delete. And if you want to connect to your virtual machine, how to connect to the virtual machine, whatever we created. Click on connect RDP, remote desktop. So it will download a remote desktop file connection over here. Click on download RTP. See, it's downloaded. Click on the downloaded file. Click connect. Just give a second. Enter the user ID and password, whatever we have. Click OK. Click yes. See, a virtual machine is created. So you have the start over here and everything. This is another machine. It's a kind of another virtual machine. Your virtual machine IP address is 23.101.139.70 and virtual machine name is eclasses123vm. C drive, D drive. It's a virtual machine. So how to connect to this virtual machine generally? Close this one. Go to our remote desktop. What is the IP address? 104.46.207.33. Where you can find that IP address. Go to the overview. Here you can see the IP address. This is a different IP address. So yeah, this is the IP address. You can copy that IP address. Yeah, 23.101 is to 3389. That is a port number. So the password is, by default it is taking the username. Click yes. So this is how we are doing here. So we are creating the one of the resource. Okay, just go back to your resource group manager, home. There is a resource groups. Under that I have a E classes. Under the E classes, see these many resources it has created. You are creating a virtual machine, but to create the virtual machine, it needs these many resources. Internally, it has created some more resources, whatever is required for the virtual machine. Any questions so far? And these are the creating of a virtual machine. Virtual machine is a service available. Once you are creating the virtual machine for one of the project, it acts like a resource. So this is how you can create the many resources. Okay, I'm going to create one more service, one more resource, storage account. If you want to store anything inside the Azure, if you want to store anything inside the Azure cloud environment, you need to create one of the service, that is storage account. Whether it is a structured data or unstructured or a semi-structured, any kind of thing you need to, any kind of thing you need to specify over here. So you can upload into a storage account based on the data type, whether it is a structured or unstructured. Storage account having 4 different kind of storage modes. One is blob storage, another one is table structure kind of storage, files share, the fourth one is queues. So based on the kind of data category you are going to keep inside this storage account, you need to select the category, storage mode, blob storage or table storage or file share or queues. But first you need to create one of the storage account. If you want to store anything, you need a storage account for it. After creating the storage account, then you need to select what kind of category of the storage mode you are expecting over here. So this I will create tomorrow. How to create a storage account. Under that storage account, what is a blob storage, what is a table storage, and what is a file share, queues, and everything I will be discussed in the tomorrow session. Any questions so far, whatever we created?
Srinivas here. Hello, can
Yes,
you hear
go
me?
ahead. Yes, I
Yeah,
can hear.
after creating virtual machine, to log into that particular virtual machine, what user ID password we should give?
At the time of creating virtual machine, if you remember, I have
Uh,
given one username and password. The one you need to put.
oh, okay. Fine, Ram.
Any other questions from any other? Kamalam, Shaktivel, Lakshmi Narayana.
Hi Ram, this is Subbu here.
Hi.
Can we stop this virtual machine if we are not using?
Yes, definitely. So if you are stopping that service, then you will save the money. For example, this is the e-classes 123 virtual machine. I'm going to stop the service. Then they don't charge until again you are starting. So whenever you are creating any resources, once your practice completed, please try to delete them. Otherwise, they will charge. So how to delete? Go to the resource group. If you are deleting the resource group, then automatically everything under that will be deleted. Click on that resource group. There is a delete resource group, and just enter your resource group manager name. It's a e-classes. Then delete it. It will be delete everything. You don't need to go on individual and delete everything. Automatically, it will delete all the resources created under that resource.
Okay, so even if we stop, it will be chargeable, right? Unless we can delete.
No, it will start the service.
Okay.
Hi Ram. To log into Azure portal, we need to use any email ID or we need to use certain, company's email ID?
So I think you missed the yesterday session.
Yeah.
I will share one how to create an email address and how to create a login account by using that email address.
Yeah, please do share.
This is Lakshmi Narayan, right?
Yeah.
I will share it.
Thank you. And one more thing is after creating this virtual machine, can we schedule it? Like typically we work from 9 to 5, isn't it? So can I set it as from 9 to 5, it should be active? Like rather than deleting or rather than stopping, it should get stopped automatically.
That we are not going to cover, but there is, I think, possibility of through some logic apps you can, yes, you might do, but I'm not sure about that. You can perform that by using other services by automation.
I mean, like in typical real world, in real time, we cannot keep active the server for 24 hours.
Yeah. So that kind of things the Azure administrators will take into.
Are you going to show that as well?
No, we are not going to cover that.
Okay.
So we will meet tomorrow and we'll continue about the storage accounts, and it is under processing of delete. So any of one create the account and share to all others. I have created a account, sorry, WhatsApp group. So I had few people. Venkat, can you please say hi? And I added the Lakshmi Narayana and
Fine.